Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is the reaction to the Atlanta Falcons, the initial reaction to the Atlanta Falcons win today over the Dallas Cowboys. 27-21, as you can see over there, Drake London is celebrating his first quarter touchdown. We're going to talk about, initial reactions. Of course, we'll go more in depth on the Splash Cast on Monday, which is tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We will be going live. But I just wanted to do kind of an initial reaction just to talk about how I felt about the game. I actually had the privilege to go to this game. For those that don't know, my sister is a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. She's from Atlanta. I was born in Dallas, and I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. Isn't that weird? But so it's her birthday, and she was gifted some tickets from our father for her birthday to go to this game. So we went, and it was fun. Initial reactions. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, Atlanta has one of the newer stadiums. So you're always going to have a bunch of fans at that stadium. And Atlanta, people like coming to Atlanta to visit too. So you're going to there was a whole lot of Cowboys fans. I went to the Chiefs Falcons game with my dad, and it was a whole lot of Chiefs fans. A lot. It was actually impressive how many Chiefs fans there were. They have nothing on Cowboy Nation, Shawty. I do admire the loyalty of the Dallas Cowboys fans. They were there in droves. They were sad. I'm going to get some pictures. We have some pictures of some fans. I think one guy had a bag on his head. Not only did they have bags on their head, but they were there deep. I will say they were deep, and they were ready to talk noise. They're very, very loyal. I admire the Cowboys fans because they are loyal, bro. It doesn't matter what happens. And they still hanging on to 1995. I will say that. They still are hanging on to 1995, bro. But there's neither here nor there. Initial reaction on the coaching. I think the Cowboys, were handcuffed with all of their injuries. Micah Parsons being out. I think Deron Bland was out. I think a couple other players were out on their offensive line as well. And it was glaring. Trayvon Diggs was nicked up. In my opinion, he was nicked up, and we'll talk about the injuries going forward with the Falcons as well. He was nicked up, but he played through it. CeeDee Lamb was hurt. Dak got hurt. The Cowboys were just depleted. So on one hand, and I see why it's frustrating being a Cowboys fan, because you can see that the potential is there, right? Dak, I will say Dak ran around for the first time I've seen this year. I haven't really seen Dak do a whole lot of running. He did a lot of running at Mississippi State. That was kind of how their offense was built. I think that was Dan Mullen, if I'm not mistaken. That was Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. That's how the offense was built. And then he came to Dallas, and the question was, can he actually, be an NFL quarterback and a pocket passer? And turns out he's really, really good at it. But not only are they really, really injured, Dak got hurt his hamstring. Jerry Jones handcuffed this team. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care how you feel. Jerry Jones handcuffed this team. Putting this team, they don't have a number 2 receiver. No shade to anybody, but they don't have a number 2 receiver. They're already missing Micah Parsons. I think DeMarcus Lawrence too. They're missing their pass rushers, and they're not strong on the back end minus Trayvon Diggs. So with all that being said, they put up a gutsy performance. As I was saying before, Dak was running around I hadn't seen him run all year, and he got first downs. The Falcons did a really, really good job of taking CeeDee Lamb out of the game. Um, it's kind of, I guess it's easier when they only have one wide receiver. Now they did have a tight end, Ferguson. Woo! 7 catches, 71 yards, and they were good. They were strong catches. All right, like I was saying, you would think CeeDee Lamb would have had more catches than, I think he had 2 catches for I want to say 18 yards, and one of them was a pretty long gain, if I'm not mistaken. But he also had a couple rushes too. Now they were trying to find ways to get CeeDee Lamb the ball, but they just didn't have anybody else to throw the ball to. Like, they, being at the game, I could see that they really were trying to get him the ball, but the Falcons just double covered him the whole game and said, "I dare you to beat us with anybody else. I dare you to beat us with anybody else," and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So, shout out to the Falcons for doing a number on CeeDee Lamb. I will say our defense, outside of the secondary, our front seven, Terry, you're going to have to do something. There's no reason that Rico Dowdell, I'm going to go to the box score real quick. There's no reason that Rico Dowdell should have ran the ball for 6.3 yards per carry. I don't think it was garbage time either. When it comes to short yardage and stopping the run, we had 2 or 3 fourth down stops, if I'm not mistaken. But there's no way that we can go forward with the linebackers playing the way they are. We need a lot more athleticism at the linebacker spot. Nate Landeman is great at short yardage. He's really good at in the run, but when it comes to coverage, him and Caden Ellis are not that great. In fact, they're awful. We also need another pass rusher. Judon is cool. I like Judon for what he is. What he's not going to be is what we thought he was going to be. He's not going to be that edge rusher that's going to get you 10 to 15 sacks a year. It's not going to happen. We were putting a lot of pressure on Dak from like Grady Jarrett and kind of the interior, but Dak would just kind of step up and get out of the way because we don't have anybody collapsing the pocket from a defensive end technique. Ebiketie, I would say this was probably one of his better games, but he's always just a step too slow. He's always a step too slow. He gets in the backfield. He can get on run plays. He gets in the backfield. On pass plays, it's like he gets a hand on the shoulder, but he doesn't have the strength to like hold off the push from the tackle. So we need a pass rusher badly. If Terry goes after Azeez Ojulari, I get it. Hopefully forgive me for what I'm about to say. It's not that I don't think Azeez Ojulari is good. He's a Georgia guy, UGA guy. I think he's good, but he's also coming off of a ACL injury. Same way that Judon was coming off Achilles, I believe. So it's kind of like going to the bargain bin, right? You're trying to find a pass rusher who people have kind of like given up on or is in a bad situation. And unfortunately for Azeez Ojulari and for the Falcons, it's kind of both. He's not great because he's coming off that ACL, so you don't know what you're going to get. And then also he's in the Giants, and the Giants look like they're about to pack it up anyway. So hopefully that can happen. But at the linebacker spot, hopefully when Troy Anderson comes back, you should be negotiating your contract right now, Troy Anderson. You really, really should, because in coverage, we look lost without you there. In covering scrambling quarterbacks, we look lost without you there. Caden Ellis did get to the quarterback a few times, and he's really good from 7 yards in. When we put him at defensive end, I think that could give the pass rush an uptick. But for the most part, we got to go get somebody. We can't keep playing the rest of these teams. Who's on our schedule next? The Saints, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers. Okay, out of those, none of them can really run except for the Commanders. I don't even know who the Raiders quarterback is. Sam Darnold doesn't scare me. Justin Herbert doesn't scare me. Bo Nix doesn't scare me. Bryce Young can move if he wants to. Daniel Jones can move, but we don't know if he's even going to be able to play. So we have an opportunity to get a pass rusher that if you put pressure on any of these quarterbacks, Derek Carr, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold, we don't know who the Raiders quarterback is, Daniel Jones, Jaden, we ain't gonna worry about Jaden, and Bryce Young. For the most of those if you get pressure on those quarterbacks, they're gonna throw you the ball. And if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, Jaden Daniels is gonna eat us alive. So for the most part, I think the defense is one or two pieces away. Secondary is straight. The interior of the D-line is straight. If Troy Anderson comes back, our linebackers are passable. We got to get another rush in. That way you can't double Judon. You can't. I see that. I don't know if Lorenzo Carter was hurt, but I didn't really see him play a whole lot at all. Let me look at. Yeah, Taquan Graham played. Damone Harris played. I didn't see Yamada, of course, Grady Jarrett, James Smith-Williams. Yeah, I didn't see Lorenzo. I don't know. Is he still on the team? Did he get cut? Y'all let me know in the comments. Did Lorenzo Carter get cut? I guess I can go look at the roster. I'm kind of adjusting this as we go. I could go look at the roster and see. But yeah, we need something on defense. Injuries. The injuries scared me a little bit too. Grady Jarrett strained Achilles. Drake London hurt his hip after the touchdown and the celebration, as you can see right there. But even though we got injured, Grady Jarrett played. I do like how our defensive line held up. I would love to see, I think Rook, Big Rook, the defensive tackle from rookie. I think him coming back, if he could stay healthy, would be good. And then that's really it. I mean, we don't really have anybody else. Of course, we need Troy Anderson back. So talking about the defense, man, that was, just to sum it up, more athleticism at the linebacker spot. We need a pass rusher badly. And our secondary is legit. Held CD to two catches for 18 yards. On offense, well, first off, let's talk about coaching. I definitely think we outcoached the Cowboys. Of course, we talked about them being depleted, but they just made interesting decisions going forward on fourth so many times, and then making the play calls that they did on fourth down. Not getting it, doing a jet sweep on 4th and 1. If you know us as Falcons fans, we know what happens on 4th and inches or 4th and 1 when you take the ball off the line of scrimmage and do something wonky and try to go wide. How we don't get it, Chiefs game. But going forward on 4th down, that fake punt was absolutely baffling. All the Cowboys fans in our section were baffled at what they were doing. And it looked like they hadn't practiced it at all. On offense for us, I understand how we're using Algier now. I don't necessarily agree with it. I would love for him to have more than 6 carries or 3 carries, but I understand how we're using Algier. So we're using Algier. He had 6 carries for 18 yards. Bijan had 19 carries for 86 yards, 7 catches for 59 yards. So Bijan had 26 touches for 145 yards. But at the end of the game, and in any short yardage, especially on that last touchdown for the Falcons, I was yelling, beat them up. The Cowboys were tired. Algier comes in the game, runs the ball 3 times for however many yards, scores a touchdown by running over basically the whole defense as they were tired from 6 yards out. Algier is the hammer. Bijan is the running back that they're going to use. They run a lot of wide zone runs, zone blocking. They run wide with Bijan. Algier, we run through the 3 gap. 1 gap, 3 gap. That's really it. And he is the hammer. So instead of getting you tired with Algier and you just hitting him over and over, we get you tired with Bijan. You running left, you running right, you running screens. He's coming out the backfield. He's the release valve for Zach Robinson. And then when you bring in Algier, it's like beating you into submission almost. I like it. I would like to see more of Algier. If we're gonna do that, I would like to see more of Algier. But I got to give it to Zach Robinson. He coached a hell of a game, and he is a totally different coordinator when we can. He's a totally different coordinator when we can actually run the ball. Our play action pass game is so good when we can run the ball. It's almost impossible to stop. What he has to figure out how to scheme up is what happens when the run game isn't going well. Now, we did lose Drake London to that hip flexor, right? And it was jarring because you could kind of see the offense bogged down. But they finally deployed a formation that I have been waiting on for a while. They brought in Algier, put him at running back. They put Darnell Mooney at the wide receiver 1, Cardero Hodge at the wide receiver 2, and then they had Bijan in the slot. No. Yeah, they had Kyle Pitts on their one play, and another play they did this formation. Instead of Kyle Pitts, it was Ray McLeod, and they put Bijan in the other slot. So it was really they were basically using Bijan as an all-around player and having Algier in the background. And we actually ran a jet sweep with Bijan, and then the next play we gave it to Algier, and he ran for like 55 yards or something like that, but it was called back on holding. Let me tell you, if we can break out that where we run dual backs with those 2 guys in there and just let Bijan just kind of run around the field when he wants to, oh, y'all in trouble now. Especially, hopefully, nothing's really wrong long-term with Drake London or Grady. But I'm talking about offense now. But if you can bring out and use Bijan the way that we're starting to see him in the slot, woo, and then have Algier running the way he is, you can pick your poison. There's really not a lot that you can do. At that point, you're gonna have to try to get us get Kirk Cousins off his mark. But at that point, we can throw a screen pass to Bijan. We can run the ball with Algier. We can there's so much you can do. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Ray McLeod or Kyle Pitts. Now Kyle Pitts, speaking of you, 1 catch, 11 yards. Not really upset about that. I would love to see you get more targets, but they couldn't stop the run, so we ran the ball 30 times. You got to get your blocking better on pass protection, bro. You got to get it better. That sack fumble on Kirk Cousins in the second quarter was you. You don't block well. It's obvious. If you don't block well, they're not going to call nothing for you. You got to make yourself loved and seen in the offense by doing what you got to do. Block. You see how Drake London gets motioned in and he seals the edge lot? They do that because you can't block. So they bring in a receiver to block. You can't allow for defensive ends to get around you like that. And Zach Robinson, I'm also going to put this on you too a little bit. Stop putting Kyle Pitts out there on defensive ends and rush ends, because he's obviously it's a disadvantage right now. And he's getting better. I mean, he's better, but he's got to be a lot better. He's got to get even better than he is now. He's getting better, but he's still bad, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I get what we're doing with Bijan and Algier. I need Kyle Pitts to block better, and I also would love to get him involved more. But we can also since Drake went out, I think there were some people at the beginning of the year talking about we play Kyle Pitts at receiver. Yeah, nah, that's out the window. We can't do that. Nah. He is a tweener. He is a tight end. If anything, we need to run him on some Travis Kelce routes. That man, I hope he doesn't end up going to Kansas City. He is a great replacement for Travis Kelce. That's how I think the Falcons should use him. Drake London was on his way though. Woo! Drake London was on his way. He had 2 catches if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Drake London, 2 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown. He was on his way to having a big game before he got hurt. But overall, man, I'm extremely satisfied with this win. I love the fact that we won the game that we were supposed to. The defense, hopefully the defense gets better against the run. Rico Dowdell, again, 6.3 yards a carry is just egregious, especially to this Cowboys team. They suck, man. But overall, happy we got the W. Where do you think we go from here? We're currently number 3 in the NFC. We're 2 games ahead in the division. We're 4 games ahead of the Taints, and we're 2 games ahead of the Bucks now. Where do you think we go from here? Y'all let me know in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe. We'll see you Monday night for Monday Night Raw with my co-host Norwood on the Splashcast. We will also see you on Saturday where we pick the games, and I'll probably do some more reactions as well. Appreciate y'all. Peace.